Okay, we start. Good afternoon, students. In the last class, we studied a Chinese garden, and we see garden is part of traditional Chinese architecture. It can inspire us, our modern designer, in this and that way. And so it is abstract. It is abstract, but we think and it can inspire the modern designer, today's designers in many ways. So we think Chinese garden is very significant in traditional Chinese architecture, in the whole part of traditional architecture. Today we go to the, okay, welcome Nahim, okay, although we have few people, but we can record. We can record our, and so students can, after you are drawing, you finish drawing?
Yeah, I finished already.
Oh, yes, good student, good student. Okay, and one day earlier, and so we can record it. I'm talking about the, so we first talk about Chinese architecture. I share the questions, so you can answer the questions.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, can you see the, question 1?
Yeah.
What is the significance?
Is that about the pool and the stone, and also the direction of the garden, or is that?
Yes. I think those are the design method of Chinese garden. Some pool, some fake mountain, stone, yes.
Some plants, some trees, and also I remember it's also about the direction. Is that right?
Yes. There are something about direction, especially when you put a building in that.
Yeah.
Put a building. Okay, question 2. Which part of China concentrates most number of traditional Chinese garden? In which part?
Is that the south and north? Is that the south part?
In the southeast.
Yeah.
Gangnan. Yes, southeast part.
Yeah, because I remember that in the whole Chinese history, the south part of the Chinese is very, very wealthy. Yeah, they have a lot of money, and they have a lot of money, a lot of power, and a lot of people. So,
yes.
Some families which is very rich, they have a lot of money to build a lot of garden. Like the whole. It's not only the garden; it's just like a whole residential unit.
Yes. That is their home. That is their home. Then the back garden is very big garden. Okay, welcome Yong Hao. Okay, and so question 3, Yong Hao. Question 3. What is the difference?
Chinese garden have the I don't know, the small bridge to hide the end or the beginning of the water.
Yes, this is
I don't know, I forget what is actual name, but yeah, they have the bridge to cover. And the Japanese one, I think the
Have you traveled to Japan, Yong Hao?
No.
Have you traveled to Japan?
No.
Okay.
So I'm not very.
Okay, we have not taught this, and I give a question to hope you can think of that. You can read some books on that. In the examination, such question may happen because we have open book examination. So such questions are possible, and 1 or 2 questions beyond our teaching scope will be possible. And you need to read some. If you can read some books, you can think on that. Okay, and thank you very much. I stop sharing. Okay, now I share the today's. Yes, and today we, after travel for more than 2,000 years, we come to modern China, to the 19th century, So I write here from 1840 to 1949. This is all in the scope of modern Chinese architecture. Before that, we think it's in Asian China. The society, the industries are completely different. Now we are recording. We should.
Yeah, you are recording.
We're recording. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. We hope that other students can read this.
Yeah, I think maybe they are sleeping or they are still doing the drawing.
Simon, it is assignment.
Yuho, you finished your drawing?
No.
Okay. No problem. Okay, and so that is the that period of 100, almost 100. This is more than 100 years. Is the period we call it is modern China. And these are the books, and I hope students can see these two books of mine and the other books, and they are all talking about this period. And there are many books on this period, and also on Guangzhou, some books on Guangzhou, and so that is the main reference. Traditional Chinese architecture take place in the traditional society of China. So that is 5,000 years. 5,000 years. The development is quite stable. It has some progress, but the progress are not very obvious. Sometimes you can see Degong big, Degong small, but they are all Degong. And one-story building, two-story building, and official building, there is Degong. And wherever it is in Hebei, it is in Sichuan, and all use Degong. But every province has its own different treatment of Degong and wood structure. They are by and large the same. But in the year 1841, 1842, that is the same, okay? In that year, this tradition was broken. China, because of the Opium War, a lot of foreign people came to China, and they brought civilization, industry, money, and their technologies and education. So the whole China changed. And there are a lot of new industries and schools, trading, hospitals. Those are never seen before. And before 1840, if you are sick, you will go to see doctor. But this doctor is in hospital. Yonghao, this doctor is in China has hospital in those days.
I don't think, maybe the call the 卫生所, but I think
even no 卫生所, 郎中 doctor is called 郎中. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
郎中 is in his own home, right? And own home, he used some very traditional method to see your pulse, There's no hospital. Okay, children want to be educated. Is there any school?
I don't think we have.
No school. And okay, in the village, the teachers, if you are a rich family, you have many brothers, sisters, then the teachers will be invited to your home to teach children. That is 私塾. And so there's no school, no hospital, no post office, no university, of course. And so all of those changed after 1840. And because British people, French people, a lot of foreign people came to China, and then they bring the civilization and change the Chinese land. So you can see before that, China is a semi-feudalist agricultural society to an industrial society. And China, in this period, we describe China as an agricultural society, dictator monarchy, because of the emperor of Qing dynasty. And in this period, it is semi-feudalist, semi-colonial, and then gradually the society from agriculture. Before that, there's no industry in China, no manufacturing in China, and Chinese people has never seen those machinery, and machinery you have. Then the steel factories, other factories were set up in China, in Wuhan, Shanghai, in these Guangzhou, in these cities. Then industry gradually growing. So that is the situation of the 19th century, in the mid-19th century. And we see this chart. And this chart I give a timeline from 1840 is the beginning to 1949. 1840 is the Opium War and the ceding of Hong Kong because of the Nanjing Treaty, and the Qing government had to cede Hong Kong to Britain because the Qing government had no ability to fight with the British Navy, right? And otherwise more people will die. So they have to say, okay, you want land, we give you this island, okay? Then the formation of colonial sessions in various cities. Later, China opened 5 cities to the Western powers, and Hong Kong. Oh, sorry, I have a telephone. Okay. 佢而家手緊頭，你講。哦，好，拜拜。Okay, and I should go back to the share screen. Okay, and let's see the. Okay, and 1840, and in this China opened 5 cities to Western powers: Hong Kong, and Xiamen, Shanghai, Ningbo, and another is.
Is that Santou?
Santou, yes. Oh, Lahin, you are very clever. You learn this.
Yeah, because I'm studying Chinese history at the secondary school.
Oh yes, very good. Lahin is very clever. Yes, 5 五口通商, 5 port cities, all along the sea. All along the sea. 五口通商 and to open. I think this is a way and open trade. They Britain and European countries, they manufacture too much. They want to trade with you. They want to sell products to your countries. So that is the background. I think all in this period. So in the 1911 and the ending of the Qing dynasty, and China becomes very messy and chaotic. Many warlord, they just fight. Shanxi, Yunnan, every province, they have their own warlord. Then they fight each other for some years. Then this is the early modern. And also you can see here, if we say modern in English, there is only one word. But in China, we divide to 2 words. One is Jingdai. Jingdai is from 1840 to 1949. Xiandai is after 1949, is Xiandai. And these two, if we understand Chinese, we know their difference. Jingdai is little bit far, and the Xiandai is a little bit close to our nowadays. So that is this period. That is this period. Then from the beginning of the 1920s, this is the international background. And the First World War finished in 1918. And so these 10 years, people call golden 10 years from 1928 to 38. It's very quick. Shanghai, I think part of Hong Kong was mainly developed in this period. Shanghai's boom, and many areas, many buildings are built in this period, Then all of these stop in 1938, because of Japanese invasion. But for city of Shanghai, it lasted for another 3 years, because Shanghai, Tianjin, and these cities, there are many foreign concessions. In the first, Japanese invaded these cities, but for those foreign concessions, British concession, Italian and French concessions, okay, Japan say, okay, we will not go to your areas. So in those 3 years, Shanghai still developed, and as an island, many people escaped from other provinces, and they went to Shanghai, and they see Shanghai is still peaceful, so they can do their industries and business. And but in 1941, because of the Pacific War, and Japan declared war to the United States, to UK, to all the European countries. So at that time, they occupied all the concession areas. All of the Westerners, Europeans were arrested. This was the same as Hong Kong. Hong Kong fell in 1941 in the Christmas holiday. And so that is for another 3 to 4 years. That was a very difficult time for Hong Kong and also for China. And then the 1945 is the ending of the China-Japanese war. But China's civil war and take place for 4 years. So from 1938 to 1949, these 11 years in China, there were very, very few construction. Very few construction. I think for big cities in Shanghai, in this period, there are some constructions, not many, 47, 48. And in 1948, the situation in Shanghai was very intense, and many people escaped to Hong Kong, to Taiwan, to other places. So there was no construction. Only in a very stable situation, the developers and rich people, they will put money to build buildings. If the situation is very turbulent, they will not build building. That is quite simple. Then we see the international situation, and I write here, 1840, 1850 is the Industrial Revolution, almost the peak of the Industrial Revolution. And in this period, we see the Art Nouveau buildings, and arts and crafts. And the early modern movement in Europe. This we see Le Corbusier. Do you still remember Le Corbusier, Miss Van der Rohe? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Le Corbusier, Miss Van der Rohe, right?
Van der Rohe is that.
They appear in this period of the early modern movement. And also in this period from the 1920s, Art Deco was prevailing. Art Deco heavily influenced buildings in Shanghai and also some in Hong Kong. Art Deco building, and also some in Guangzhou, and you see, and those Art Deco buildings. Now in Shanghai, many buildings are in Art Deco style. Too many of the 1920s, 1930s buildings. Then modern movement after World War II. This is a healthy development of modern movement after 1945 in Europe and the United States, and also influence China in some capacity. So this is the general timeline of modern time, modern era, and about 100 years time. I hope students can understand and also can remember this period, different period, and the key moments, why there's no construction after 1938. Students should give a clear answer. And when we say China is a super stable situation, that is for the past 5,000 years. And in the feudalist rule, 5,000 years. And today you see, and I took this picture and randomly took this picture in Guangdong, somewhere in Guangdong, and people build their own house. Of course, the building materials are a little bit different with the ancient time. Now we have concrete, right? But people build, and the technologies are by and large the same. Building had evolution in technology, as we said, the change of Degong, evolution of Degong and the wood system and style. But the change was slow, and mainly in the style. No revolutionary breakthrough, no. And in building components, and you can see the roof. Wudian is Wudian, okay? In Tang Dynasty, there are Wudian. Now you still have Wudian, but this cantilever is smaller than before, and use more colors. So that is the change. The other system, you can see this podium. You can also see similar podiums in Tang Dynasty, but in Qing Dynasty, this podium use better building materials. Then when we say open door, of course, China currently, the country is quite and very advanced, and it is the result of open door in 1978. But in the 19th century, Western countries, they also want China to open door, and open door for trading, and then they can sell goods to China. So we can see, I think this is in your high school, secondary school textbook, and Nanjing Tiaoyue, okay, trade of China. And these are all open door, but after 100 years. And this time, especially in 1978, Deng Xiaoping actively hopes to open door, to shake hands, to embrace the international trade, to trade with other countries. Then China will have a way out. We can produce, we have people, we have labor, we can produce for you. And that is the China's attitude. And we see this is a map of China. And for this map of China, and these red lines are all the people will call this is the coastal city. Coastal cities are always the most advanced city in China, and the most advanced cities in China, because these cities have ports, and the shipping and all the goods can be exchanged and be unloaded in these port cities, and also they have most cultural and commercial exchange with foreign countries. And this green line, people will call this as usually the second tier cities in China. Yixian, Shanxi, okay, second tier cities in China, and Zhongbo, okay, mid front. And this blue, people will say, okay, these are the western part of China, because this area, all of these areas are Xinjiang, Xizang, and Tibet, and there are many mountains, deserts. So these areas are not suitable for humans and people's living. And so when we say the West in China is only in the midline of China. Lanzhou is actually the center of China, you can see. But it is, from our mind, from Shanghai, Hong Kong, this is very west in China, okay? Okay, let's see some city examples. And we travel to various cities. Then we can see how the early buildings were built in those cities. Okay, and Nahim and Yonghao, have you been to Guangzhou?
Yeah.
To Guangzhou, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. You know Guangzhou well?
No.
Not really.
Yes, your home place, native place is near Guangzhou?
It's in Zhuhai.
Zhuhai, okay.
In Fujian.
Fujian, okay, Fujian, okay. Okay, and this is Guangzhou 13 factories, Sasanhang. That is the earliest trading place, because foreign people, they first came to China in the 17th century. 17th century, you think that is the Renaissance time. They can manufacture many things at that time because of their early industries. Then their ship came to, especially from the Netherlands, they came to India, then to Singapore, then to China. Then first they came to Guangzhou. The Qing government say, okay, don't disturb us. At that time, Qing government is very enclosed. They don't want to trade. Why they call themselves Zhongguo? Because they think they are in the middle of the world. Zhongguo, middle of the world. We have everything. We have rice, we have tea, we have pork, we have clothes, we can do everything. We don't want to trade with foreign countries. So foreign people, merchants, they came to China. They first went to Guangzhou. Guangzhou say, okay, I give you this, okay, just in this area, 13 factory, please live inside that. If you want to trade, do business in here, live here, do business, don't go out, don't go beyond this scope. So that is the beginning of 13 factories. And but this 13 factory was demolished, no longer exist in Guangzhou now. So now there is only a location called Sasanhang, but there's no building. But there are some drawings. From those drawings, you can see, and people there, they are trading. They use calculate, then to write the notebook and the bill, then they sell, they take money, and all the goods are put on those warehouses. All the warehouses, so easy to store the goods, then to sell and collect goods. And that is the location of Guangzhou, and because the Guangzhou is closing to the Pearl River. This Pearl River is here, Pearl River. Then flow to Nansha, then go to the outside is Zhuhai, and the Zhuhai, then go up to Hong Kong. Hong Kong is in this side. And I put two pictures. These two pictures are in Hong Kong in the early 20th century. And so we can see in Guangzhou, Hong Kong, there are many buildings are the same. So you see those buildings are 3 stories high, 3 stories high. And people will live here and mainly do business. These are also warehouses. A lot of goods are stored. A lot of goods are stored inside. These are all the buildings closing to the water. So it's easy to be shipped out. Hong Kong itself was designated as an entrepot. Entrepot is a French word that means to be a port of for goods. And okay, I put one picture. This is in Fiji. Fiji is a country in the Pacific, up in Australia, up the Australia, and so those buildings have similar features, and we can see those are warehouses and perhaps the trade companies. People also live here, so they can do business closing to the water. It's easy to put the goods on the boat, and the boat can transport to other places. That is a post office in Samian. I think Shidi Youju, and it has a Muslim style. In Guangzhou, I did not see this building, so I don't know if it is still in Guangzhou. And the most famous is Samian. And have you been to Samian? Ahim, have you been to Samian?
No.
Yeah, Samian is in this is Pearl River. Pearl River is up, and this is very narrow water. Samian, it is an island because of the river flow. There are a lot of sediment, and then they form an island. So this Samian, so the Qing government also say, okay, this area is for you, okay, mainly British and French merchants, so they can build their houses and companies in this island. That is the mindset of the Qing government. Say, okay, you don't disturb our normal business. We have our business. We have everything. If you want to do business, you can do in the. I give you, this is like a special district. I give you this area, Samian. So in Samian, there are many foreign design buildings, British, and Samian is here. This is Pearl River. And there are some waters. So you can see, there are many buildings and merchants' office, houses, and bank, and also all of those buildings were built by British and French people, and the French people, they also have a big lawn, and so that is the plan of Samian. You can see the post office, the bank, and the office buildings. But after 1949, these buildings were used by various companies, government offices, and also a lot of residents moving. So in center of Samian, there is a big lawn. This is called mall. I think that term mall is the same as in the Washington, D.C. and they use the term mall. We say shopping mall, but this mall is open to sky. And on two sides of the mall, there are 3 to 4 story buildings, all Western styles, designed by British and French architects. Some architects are in Hong Kong, like Hong Kong's Leon Orange. They design buildings in Samian. And Samian, we can see the building of office building. We can see this is the office building, and in Samian, it's all the arch, and arch, and this is called colonnade, arch colonnade, and this kind of building. And so I put a picture of Hong Kong. This is Hong Kong's barrack in Soki Wan, and it has very wide corridor. The soldiers will live in the room, and there is a corridor for them to, sometimes they will have activities, then all people will go out from here. But the building is the same style, with all the arch and the 3-story high. In Hong Kong, there are several such barracks, like in Kowloon Park. Kowloon Park's building will transformed now to the museum. And that is the buildings in Samian British Consulate General, elevation. And this building is a classical revival building. As you can see, the columns. This is a huge columns. Columns dominate the composition. Then the balcony. Balcony is a bit and recessed. Then this arch. We can see the building, and from here to here, it is a building, symmetrical building seems. Then at this part. Okay, at this part is here. This part is a balcony. Such buildings, you can find such building in Hong Kong, like Hong Kong Parks. Staff flag building. In Hong Kong Park, there are similar buildings. British Consulate General. These are chimneys on the rooftop. That is the custom house of Guangzhou, custom house. And yes, this is a classical building and clock tower. Then this central part, it's a typical classical revival building. You can see the double columns. And what's the column capital here? Gao Nahim.
Yes.
What is the column style? Capital.
Is that Doric?
Ironic.
Oh, it's ironic.
You can see scroll.
Yeah.
To scroll. Very beautiful column. You can see very beautiful column. But it's double column. Double column means the designer want to emphasize this is an important building. Double column.
But I want to ask, what is the difference of single column and double column? Because in the structural design, what is the difference of single column and double column?
That is the same. For the structure, it is the same. One column can support, two column can support. That is the same.
Okay.
That is the same.
That means the designer just only want to show the power and also the importance of the building.
Yes.
So he put double column.
Double column, yes.
Okay.
I think double column mainly from the Renaissance, high Renaissance time, people start to use double column. You can see Bernini, I remember Italian architect Bernini, he designed that square in St. Peter's Square. It is double column. Then another Renaissance architect, Palladio, he used a big column, then two small columns. Do you remember? And very beautiful. He is very influential. After that, many people started to use double column. Then in some Baroque architecture, there are some double columns to make it, and I think to make it more powerful and impressive. Here you see the custom house. Many cities, their custom house are the similar. And so that is the Guangzhou Custom House. Guangzhou Custom House. And there is a base, then 2 stories. This is a shaft. Then there is a crown. The crown is that crown, very obvious crown. So we go to Samian. Samian, we see the Samian, many classical building. This building is designed in a corner. This corner is has a 45-degree, face this garden, face this central mall. So it is very classical, 4 stories, 4 stories. And also chapels, beautiful chapels, and red brick. Because Guangzhou is quite hot, so this and this is called veranda. Veranda is a word and created in tropical areas in India, Malaysia, Hong Kong, and used that because these areas are very hot, very hot. And Samian, and now Samian is quite messy. Many people live there, and many people live in every floor. Buildings are very poor, very poor. I think the government and private companies are remodeling many buildings, and now some are changed to very fabulous and restaurants and coffee shop and souvenir shops. Samian. So next time you go to Guangzhou, you must visit Samian. That is in Saiguan and Guangzhou. Xiguan is a traditional area, and there are also many houses. Xiguan, in the past 20 years, Guangzhou government remodeled these houses. They move people out. They move people out to other places. Then they remodel that. Then make them like exhibition and rent to people to do business, so people can visit these houses. Guangzhou, you see this is Gothic church, Gothic cathedral in Guangzhou, and it was made by stone, and it is a very big cathedral in this South China area. It's the interior of that cathedral, stone cathedral, Guangzhou. I think it's very authentic. Gothic church. This is a cement factory. Cement factory was used by Dr. Sun Yat-sen, and this we can see the veranda surrounding the buildings, so people can walk there and very comfortable, very comfortable. It was designed, these Purnell and Paget, they were from Australia. They have a firm in Guangzhou and Purnell. They designed many buildings in this period in Australia. These are in the 1920s. 1920s, the Christian church wanted to build a university campus in Guangzhou. So that is today's Dr. Sun Yat-sen's university, Dr. Sun Yat-sen University. And these universities, more than 100 buildings were designed by American architects. And those American architects, they want to imitate Chinese styles. They want to imitate Chinese styles and to make the buildings in this way, and pitched roof, and red brick, very beautiful. These buildings were all well kept and still used today. If you go to Guangzhou, go to Dr. Sun Yat-sen's University, you can see these red brick buildings. This may be student hall. One is student hall, and most are the academic departments. But I think interior are very old, and running water sometimes, and water pipes and wiring are very old. Guangzhou in 1934, Chinese architects designed this building of 17 stories high. It was highest building in Guangzhou at the time. Aichun Dasa. It was designed by Chinese architect. He graduated from the United States and came back to Guangzhou and designed this building. This building, clad with stone, now it was used as hotel. Now it is still as a hotel. I lived there for one night, and the facilities are not good because of it is an old building. These styles are Art Deco style, and the long windows and these decorations. It is modern architecture, but with some decorations. Some modern architecture are very, very solid, very no decorations, but this with some patterns decoration. You can see Frank Lloyd Wright also used this method in his design. There are some patterns. Those are the Guangzhou Saoniangong, and it is also an Art Deco building. Art Deco were very popular at that time. So I give some pictures of Art Deco. I have a book, and those are in San Francisco and New York cities. They are very popular. And the last year there is an exhibition in our university, Art Deco. You see, this is Hong Kong's Art Deco building. Okay, and we move from Guangzhou to Tianjin. And Guangzhou is here, Tianjin is here. Tianjin is close to the sea. Tianjin, map of Tianjin. Tianjin was once the concession area for 9 countries. It leads to Britain, France, the United States, Japan, and Italy, Belgium. I forget which 9 countries. And it has most number of concession areas in China. This is the river. I think this is the river. This is a hotel. Its English name is Aston Hotel. Chinese is Li Shunde. That hotel, you can see the interior decoration. It's a very Western style decoration inside. But in these years, this is my pictures. I visited it, and now it is remodeled to a little bit modern style, but try to be harmony with the old styles. This is Little Italy. Little Italy is, I think, is a big block. There are many small blocks, many buildings. Little Italy. Today people call 小意大利, 意大利风情区. And Italy, you can see those are all Italian people build buildings and with tropical, European tropical styles, and in that. So this is Little Italy. There are so many villas in Tianjin's concession areas because Beijing is the Qing government. A lot of rich people, officials, they build their houses in Tianjin. Why they don't build in Beijing? They build in Tianjin. I'm thinking the reason. A lot of people, why their business, they work in Beijing, but they build their house in Tianjin. Why?
Yes.
Yes, can you please just speculate why these Qing government officials and also rich people, they do business in Beijing, but they build their houses in Tianjin? Why?
Because Tianjin is near sea, and most of the foreign people and the most of the foreign people, they trade the product at Tianjin. So the Qing government and also the wealth people in China, they are likely to build their houses in Tianjin rather than in Beijing.
Yeah, I think this is a good reason. Yes, Tianjin, because so many people, rich people get in Tianjin, so Tianjin has a rich cultural life, more theaters, bars, and I think people will feel people will live in the place they feel happy, right?
Yeah.
So they can have happy time, and the weekend they can go back to Tianjin and to spend 1 or 2 days. Then Monday they go back to Beijing.
Yeah.
Business. I think this is the reason. But at that time, the traffic, now Beijing to Tianjin, 30 minutes, take high-speed rail. But in that, I think in those days, and you need about half-day travel. 3 to 4 hours are at least. There's no, I think the car appeared in the early 20th century. And but they are train, and early 20th century there was train from Tianjin to Beijing. Travel was not so convenient 100 years ago. Tianjin have so many. This is amazing. Before I traveled to Tianjin, I never expect Tianjin has so many small villas, even more than Shanghai, so many. And those were all built by rich people. Some are warlords and guanfa, okay, and then they have one house in Tianjin, and also intellectuals and these white and little Italy. And Liang Kai-chiu, have you heard this name before?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the one who very take a lot of place in the revolution.
Yeah. He want to overthrow the Qing dynasty, and
Yeah.
Cihei Taihe want to kill him. He fled to escape to Japan. He escaped to Japan, but the Logunji, 3 people were killed, executed by Cihei. Some people escaped. Liang Kai-chiu escaped to Japan. And so this is his house. In the 1920s, after Qing dynasty was overthrown, and he came back to Tianjin and bought a house. And then he has families, big families, met people, then meet people here. So in Tianjin, there are also financial streets, Gamyonggai, okay, and there are so many banks. These banks are all Western styles. Of course, the pictures I took are all buildings are remodeled and renovated in the past 20 years. The government pay high attention on this cultural heritage, and every government want to preserve them well. So you can see those buildings, and very classical revival form, and red brick buildings. And now it is renovated. You travel to Tianjin, you would go there to visit. China France Bank. And Tianjin's cathedral. Tianjin, and there are also residential areas, a lot of residential areas, schools. Okay, let's have 10 minutes break. 10 minutes break. Okay, we share screen. You can see the screen?
Yes.
Harbin, you see the Harbin line?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, and we went to Guangzhou and Tianjin, and 2 cities. I think most important 2 cities, and then Harbin. Further go up is Harbin. And because Harbin is close to Russia, so in very early time, and Russia, because Russia developed Siberia, and then they want to come to China. Actually, in Qing Dynasty, they already cut a large part from China, and in today's Haishan Wei, and that is, all sea to Russia. That is very big areas to Russia. Then they want to further to make it go through China, then to Beijing, and to build railway. So Harbin was formed by this rail company, 中东铁路, China Eastern Railway. And so in the late 19th century, and this is a map of Harbin. This river is Songhuajiang, and then the south bank of Songhuajiang, we can see very dense development. And also, if you can see this map is a radius, and it's an octagon. The road are radius. I think this is the center. Then all radius to all the ways. The others. This is very European style planning. The others, it's like a checkerboard. This is close to the river. The map was drawn in 1923, and but later, because Russia was defeated by Japan, so Japan also has many influence in Harbin, especially in China-Japanese War, because Japan occupied northeastern China in 1931. From 1931, they already occupied northeastern China. They built that as part of Japan, as Manzhouguo. And so we can see this St. Sophia Cathedral church that was in Harbin, and it's completely Russian style, and Dongzhenggao, okay, is Orthodox. I think the plan is the Greek cross. It's the Greek cross, the same cross, Dongzhenggao. We see the interior, the dome, the center, and the two wings are very short. The four sides are the same. And yes, fortunately, it remains, and even in Cultural Revolution, surviving the Cultural Revolution, it remains. Okay, you can see the front elevation of this church, and its church, the head like an onion, right? And this is the front gate. And this map was drawn in 1938. 1938 is this part is already ruled by Japan, by Japanese government. So that is the various areas of Harbin. And now this part is developed, North Bank. This hotel is called modern English is modern hotel. In Chinese, people translated that into 马迭尔旅店, and so that is the hotel. This is the Central Street. Central Street is from one end. The other end is Songhuajiang. It's very beautiful. The streets, and its width is Tei Ezhang, and we don't know how big. It is around, we see it is around 10 to 12 meters. Now it's a pedestrianized streets. These buildings, some buildings are old buildings, some new buildings also imitate the Russian style with the spear and also with an onion on the top. That is the central street of, it's a pedestrian street, and along the two sides are all the shops, hotels, and with the Russian styles. This is Harbin University of Architecture Engineering. The building was built as a academic building in the 1930s, designed by Russia, and we can see the structure, and also the staircase, very European style, European style. And you can see very European styles. Structures, corridors, windows, these high windows. I think this building should be very fashionable in the 1930s. See such big windows, and also arch. And also this floor. Do you know how do you call this kind of decoration? Do you know this? What is this floor decoration? This is very traditional. Actually, now Hong Kong's old building has this kind of.
Is that what is that?
No. Have you seen this? This is called 水磨石.
水磨石?
水磨石, yes. 水磨石 in English is terrazzo. I forget. I need to check. Terrazzo. It is very popular in the 1930s. Very high class. You can see Shanghai's department store and Hong Kong's old buildings. They have this terrazzo, and it is concrete plus some stones. Then you need to ground with some water to ground, so it becomes very smooth. 水磨石. 水磨石. You need to, between this pink and black terrazzo, you need to have the bronze strip. 中间要有筒条. You can divide two parts. Okay. It's very high class in the 1930s, 1920s. So when I see this picture, it reminds me the terrazzo. Okay, and from Harbin we go down to Changchun. Changchun is the capital city of Manzhouli, because Puyi was expelled as the last emperor in Qing dynasty, and then Japanese people took him and put him as the king of the Manzhouli. So in that way, he was the emperor of Manzhouguo. So we can see this is modern building in Changchun, and designed by Japanese architects. Japanese architects at that time, they want to learn from the Western, everything they want to learn from Western. So they learn the classical Western architecture and also modern architecture. Then some people design in Japan. Many people came to China, to Taiwan to design especially young architects. They went to China. Some people went to Taiwan, design many modern buildings. You see, very Art Deco buildings in Changchun. This is a very classical building, Doric capital. And you can see Art Deco building, and with all these were designed by Japanese in 1937. In 1937. Manzoli agriculture immigration plan, because more Japanese people, they find China has so good soil, they can cultivate Japan, because Japan does not have so many lands for agriculture, so they find northeastern China has such a big land, so many people move to China, immigrant to China. Agriculture immigrant plan. So move Japan's farmers to China to do agriculture. Sanxi Datong, this is one city, master plan 1938, and also by Japanese. So now we go to Dalian, and Dalian is at the end of this Bohai, and it's in the tip of this Bohai Sea, and we go from Harbin, Changchun, then all the way to Dalian. Dalian was first occupied by Russia, then Japan, then German, for some years, for 13 some years. And we can see this is the plan of Dalian in 1930s, and the map was drawn by Japanese. And in the center, there is a circular square. This circular square radiate to all directions. And this is the sea. Dalian, Qingdao are all beautiful, very beautiful cities. And Dalian, this urban plan was made by Europeans, by Russia first, all the European style. But buildings were big. Later, Dalian was occupied by Japan, because Russia and Japan has a battle in Dalian. Finally, Japan won, and so Japan took Dalian, and so they built many buildings. This is the Dalian government. Do you think this building has any Japanese style? Yong Hao, do you think this building has any Japanese style?
I think no.
No.
Yeah.
Then they want to, at that time, they want to discard old traditional Japanese style. They think Western experiences are good, so they learn from Western. So they build buildings in China, Taiwan, all in this style, very Western style. Modern, you can say it's modern style. It's Art Deco. Inside, very beautiful. This is also terrazzo. Very old, well kept. This is very modern plan. If you build building in this way, very scientific, designed by Japanese architects. You see, this is very modern style. Very modern style in Dalian. Residential building design. This is a cinema. This cinema is, can see, very Art Deco, very modern, very fashionable at the time. So you can see this cinema, you compare it with the cinemas in Shanghai, in Hong Kong, perhaps in Hong Kong, Shanghai, San Francisco, they are very similar, these cinemas. So people with the magazines and also pictures, people can learn from those styles. But I think these were designed by Japanese architects. They learn very quick. Radio station in Dalian. It's also a modern architecture with the blocks, some high, some low. This is a hotel, and designed by Japanese style. This is, it looks like a classical revival style, right? Very classical method, but it was designed by Japanese architects. When I traveled to Yokohama, Yokohama is the Wangban, okay, next to it is a port city in Japan. There are so many Western style buildings, all designed by Japanese architects themselves. And they learn from Western and they want to build in this style. So this is hotel, I write here. A very high class hotel in Dalian. Dalian station and train station, you can see Dalian train station is very modern style building and very long traffic building. It was designed as a modern architecture. Then we cross this river, Dalian to Qingdao. You need to take boat, take ship, and one night from Dalian to Qingdao. Qingdao is here, and this area is Huanghai, Yellow River, Yellow Sea, and this is Bohai. Coastal city in Qingdao. Qingdao was occupied by Germany 1897 to 19. This is 17 years, 17 years. In these 17 years, and German laid out the urban plan infrastructure in Dalian, in Qingdao. So this is the governor's house. This is the governor's house. Catholic Church of Qingdao. And the government, municipal building of Qingdao, and designed by the communist government, used by the communist government after 1949. Then we further go to here, Wuhan. Wuhan is in the midstream, Yangtze River flowing this way, then finally to Hefei, Nanjing, to Shanghai. Then the midway is Wuhan. And also, if you take train from Guangzhou to Beijing, you will pass by Wuhan. So it is a junction of waterway and trainway. So it is a traffic city and a junction city. Wuhan is divided by 3 towns, and because this is the Yangtze River, this is Hanjiang. So this is Hanyang, is mainly factories. Hankou is commercial cities. Wuchang is education, mainly education. Universities are all in Wuchang. This is Donghu, many waters in Wuhan. So Wuhan is a very nice place, many lakes. So Wuhan is like Tianjin, and many commercial buildings. And this is Hong Kong Bank, Weifeng Nanhang, okay, Hong Kong Bank. This is Custom House. So this Custom House is like that in Guangzhou and also like that in Shanghai. Those are the bank buildings of Wuhan, Bank buildings, those are very classical buildings. You can see the base, the shaft, and also the crown. This is on a corner. I think these buildings pay attention on the corner, so the entrance are usually arranged in the corner, which can face most people. That is Wuhan University. Wuhan University it is a design competition. Finally, American architect Kills won, and his design is very nice. And also he used the Chinese style to build buildings. At that time, in the 20th century, many foreign architects, they want to use Chinese style. I think first the Chinese government hopes to do so. And in this way, and the buildings, because everyone can see the buildings, and everyone can see the buildings, it can motivate people. And second, those architects, they are also commercial architects. They see this is prevailing styles in China, so they want to learn how to apply Chinese styles and design language to the modern architecture. This is also a very popular trend in the 1920s, 1930s. So this is the library of Wuhan universities, because it was built on mountains. So this is the playground. This is the library. These are the academic buildings. So Kills designed a central axis, and this is the low valley. These are on the two top mountains. This is on the valley. So it's very beautiful. And you can see these are the students' hall. Kills. Okay, then we from Wuhan, central China, then to south to Xiamen. Actually, we start from Guangzhou, then go around, then go to Xiamen. Xiamen was benefited by many overseas Chinese, many Fujian people, and Yonghao will know, and many Fujian people, they go to foreign countries. They go to San Francisco and Honolulu, and then they go to Singapore and Malaysia, and then accumulated money. Then they come back to their own hometown to build villas, build buildings. So that is Gulangyu. There are so many villas. It's an island, and it's a residential island with some mountains. And so people build many red brick buildings, villas, mainly villas. It's an enclave. You can see that is the Gulangyu. There are many villas, but these villas now renovated as coffee shop, as hotels, and all for tourists purpose. Xiamen University was sponsored by Chen Jiagen, and he is a merchant, businessman in Malay and Singapore, and he donated all his money to build several schools in Xiamen and Jimei Xuexiao and Xiamen University. Then we go to Beijing. We have a look of Beijing. Tsinghua University, and this gate, this is part of Yuanmingyuan. Tsinghua is part of Yuanmingyuan. Tsinghua University was set up because in the Eighth Alliance country, they invade China, and they let China to compensate every countries, and then the United States take Chinese money because Qing government compensate a sum of money to the United States. The United States used that money to set up a school. This school prepared Chinese young people to study, train English, mathematics, then sent to the United States. So the first generation of Chinese students in overseas were trained in Tsinghua University, then sent to the United States. This auditorium was designed by Henry Murphy. Henry Murphy came to China for 20 years in 1914. He was an architect in New York City, Henry Murphy. And then he traveled to China because this Tsinghua University, I think the United States, some Christian church also have donation. So they committed Henry Murphy to design. So he designed many buildings actually in Tsinghua campus. And this is auditorium. This is auditorium and auditorium. It is like Thomas Jefferson's design in university, in American universities. And with the dome, with this entrance, like Greek buildings, like a Roman revival building. That is the University of Thomas Jefferson in the University of Virginia, and designed the building. Then the other buildings were designed by other American architects. There were many American architects working in that time. They were committed by the mainly Christian church, and Tsinghua School. This Tsinghua School was set up to train Chinese young people to study in the United States. This is a preparatory school. You need to have good English, good mathematics, physics. And also, China has a tradition, even in the Asian time, China has a tradition of the national examination. And young boys, if you study hard, you can be 举人 and 状元 finally. And also, this Tsinghua School also takes examination for the whole country. Young people, mainly young boys in the early 20th century, if you work hard, you can you can become a student here. Then you can become, that will also publish all the names, who are the number 1, number 2, number 3. That's like Asian China. And tonight, 100, right? 100. If you are hardworking and you work hard, you can, of course, you need to prepare. You need to prepare examinations. Thomas Jefferson's University of Virginia office. That is Thomas Jefferson's school. Thomas Jefferson School. That is the University of Virginia. It's campus, library, an academic building, students' hall, teachers' residence. It's very ideal society of learning society. And American architects designed the Beijing's Union Medical College. Union Medical College. This was designed by Hussey, Harry Hussey. And Union Medical College, there are 2 parts. One is for education, to train medical students. Another part is hospital. So that is, now we see Hong Kong University, Mary Hospital, okay, Mary Hospital and Queen Elizabeth Hospital. They are part of the Chinese U and also the part of the Hong Kong U Medical School. That is the early, prototype of medical school, and the hospital and medical schools they put together. But the designers, of course, the designers research on Chinese architecture, research on how to design a building. Chinese people will feel intimate. This medical school was committed by Rockefeller Foundation. And when they build buildings in China, they want Chinese people to see it and feel intimate, like it's in their own environment. I think this is their mission. And this Union Medical School is still there, and it's today's Union Hospital, Union Medical College and Hospitals. 协和医院 in Beijing, and it is in Wangfujing, and now it is still there, and the building used this terracotta and green color terracotta and brick walls. Of course, all of these materials are made in China, but American architects and designed the form, and also they studied the form. Why this building on the ground floor? This is the first floor, and you still have this decoration, right? So people will call this 重岩, but this is not 重岩. This is another story here. But the designer think they want to add some decorations here, terracotta here. Fortunately, after 100 years, this building still remains still used as a hospital. So at that time, American designers and also Chinese constructors, they spent a lot of efforts. Finally, there was no money to build these schools. That is Henry Murphy's design. Henry Murphy designed many buildings, campus buildings. This is in Beijing, Peking universities, and the two-story high buildings, and with a pitched roof here, And he designed buildings in Nanjing, Jingling University. And this is a cross roof, cross roof. Okay, so that is the end of this part. There is another. Okay, I should stop sharing here. And we see some cities: Tianjin, Beijing, Guangzhou, Qingdao, Dalian. And there is an important city, Shanghai. I made another 2 PPT for Shanghai, but it seems that in this telling, and I will upload that to the canvas so students can read by yourself. We can have a quick look of that slide. We don't need to, and in some important part, we can pinpoint. Can you see that? Can you see a new PPT?
Yes.
Okay. We can quickly go through that. As Shanghai is the most important city when we talk this period of time in modern China from 1840 to 1949, because Shanghai was the most prosperous city at the time. There are more foreign designed architecture and also excellent modern architecture in Shanghai in this period, especially in the early 20th century. So we need to have separate PPT. This is today's Shanghai, and also the Shanghai, old Shanghai is in this part. This area, do you think this area is larger than Hong Kong? Yonghao, do you think this area, Shanghai area, is larger than Hong Kong?
Yeah, somehow.
How large?
Maybe
1 times bigger?
5 or 4.
5, yes, you're clever. 5 times bigger than, larger than Hong Kong, than that of Hong Kong. So Shanghai has large areas. Hong Kong is very small compared to a lot of cities. Hong Kong is a small city. Its area, especially the city area, is smaller. The old Shanghai city in Qing Dynasty is here, close to the water, and this pink part is the city area of Shanghai. City areas of today. Today Shanghai becomes many districts, but still some agricultural districts. This part. Shanghai was concessed to many foreign countries. This is French concession, and this first is the British concession, then becomes international settlements. This is Japanese concessions. And so I live in Japanese, my home is in Japanese concessions. So many buildings were designed by Japanese. But those Japanese design has very few Japanese style, very few Japanese, very beautiful, very beautiful. 1861 to 1915. This was made, map was made 1898. 1898. From this is the city of Shanghai. This is British concession, and this is the Shanghai city governed by Qing government. They say, okay, you British people came to Shanghai. You want to have land? Okay, you can use this land. These lands are people's graveyard. You negotiate with landlords. So these are all. This is outside Shanghai city. A lot of people died, so they are buried here, and the ancestors are here. Nobody want to these lands. Nobody want to use these lands. Okay, you British want, you take it. We can lease these to you. First lease, give some money to Qing government, to the Shanghai government, then lease these areas to you. And this is Suzhou Creek. This is Huangpu River. You use this land. British people, they love the land close to the water, but in 100 years ago, people think land close to water has no value, no value. Those are all grave land. Many people's coffins are here, so British merchants will have to deal with a lot of landlords to buy land from people. Chinese Shanghai city. These two pictures, we can see the same situation, and that is in the late 19th century. All the 2 and 3 stories go down warehouses. So that is the western part of Shanghai. Western part. This is in the 2005, 19th century. That is Puxi, Pudong, okay, Puxi, Pudong, and Pudong areas. You see this part is Pudong area. This is from Huangpu River, you see Puxi areas. So we can compare with the buildings in Hong Kong. Buildings in Hong Kong. And, these are the buildings. Go through those buildings. River. That is very traditional Yuan Garden. That is in Chinese cities, in Shanghai, old Shanghai County, and the Yuan Garden now it is still there. It is old pavilion, and also the bridges are there. And the 1930s in Shanghai. Because this area was first given to British merchants. So they started to build their buildings. So today people call its origin of Bund, Waitangyuan. Two students have been to Shanghai?
No.
Oh,
No.
you must travel to Shanghai. You must travel to Shanghai. Go to Shanghai, and that's very necessary. That is the Jardine House in Shanghai. Later, it was British Consulate General in Shanghai. The Bund. Now it is renovated as a very high-class restaurant, coffee shop. Suzhou River. Along the Suzhou River, there are all warehouses, go-downs, bridges. That was a picture in the 1930s. Why I can judge this is in 1930s? Because this building was complete. This is Peace Hotel, was completed in 1928. Then there is a Bank of China here, built in 1934. But we cannot see this Bank of China building, only see this one building here. So we can estimate that this picture was taken in 1928 to 1934, in these 6 years. And also this Andrew is no longer in this location now, Of course, now the Bund has much extended outside, extended to Huangpu River, because Huangpu River's water level is rising. So government has to raise the height of the Bund, and also extend outside. 1920s. This is 1992. We see some lifestyles. When we see those Asian traditional buildings, we have to see how people, what's the lifestyle. You can see rickshaw and the Western overseas ladies, they ride horses, and because that is the main traffic at the time, 马路, okay? So we can see the woman wear qipao and also the rickshaw in the streets. So from those Sincere company, Hong Kong has this Sincere company. This was run by Cantonese people. They run in Shanghai and Hong Kong, Guangzhou. Commercial buildings. I think the important building is this Peace Hotel, Cathay Hotel. It was developed by Sassoon. So we can compare to Hong Kong's Peninsula Hotel and Singapore's Ruffle Hotel, almost the similar times. Sassoon Hotels. In 2007, a new part was added to here because this hotel is make a new part, but still respect the old style. That is the new part. And in all those Western style buildings. Only this building was designed by Chinese architect. Chinese architect Lo himself, and he is from Hong Kong. He's from Hong Kong, and at that time he worked in Shanghai, Bank of China, and then he came back to Hong Kong in 1950s, and also helped to design this Bank of China in Central. Have you seen this building in Central? This is Hong Kong Bank. Yonghao.
I don't think I see.
Okay, this is Central. This is Hong Kong Bank. Next is Bank of China. Built in 1951. Built in 1951. That is the other schemes of I think that is for Peace Hotel. Other scheme of Peace Hotel. Bank of China in Shanghai. These are designed by Lo himself, and he designed many buildings in Shanghai. Then he came to Hong Kong in 1949. That is the Hong Kong Shanghai Bank designed by Palmer and Turner. So bank in other cities. That is the Broadway apartment. Boom. These are the Art Deco buildings. Okay, and so that is a general look of Shanghai. There are another PPT, and we don't need to go one by one. Okay, and we first stop sharing. And also